Coach, you got your first look at the freshmen against a top 10 opponent. How did you think they fared and handled themselves?
Handled themselves really well. As I said after the game, not surprised. You know, a lot of confidence in those guys. They have a lot of confidence in themselves. You know, they've been here a while now. I mean, since we started in June and we played 3 games overseas, so they had that luxury. But you're right. I mean, it was the first time hostile environment on the road. But they're not a group that panics. They kind of stay the course. And you know, freshmen are going to contribute as we expect them to. That's what has to happen.
How is Peyton doing, and do you expect him to play tomorrow?
Yeah, he'll play.
He'll play.
Lodgy, the three-pointer, is that something you knew was in his game, or is this?
Yeah, he's always been a good three-point shooter. You know, you look at him and think, well, he's a bruising power forward, and he can play that way. I mean, he can back down and he gets traffic rebounds. He's big and strong, but he's always had really good perimeter skill. He can put it on the deck. Doesn't panic if teams are pressing or trapping him. Really good passer and a really good shooter.
Does that how will that make him harder to defend then as he moves on?
It gives us a lot of flexibility because we can move him around. You know, we can play him at 5 if we have to, but you know, he's primarily a forward that can stretch the floor, runs really well, is a really good athlete. He was somebody that, you know, when we started recruiting him, we felt like he could really be special, and he's proven to be that.
What's Lodgy's personality like?
Pretty quiet, yeah, pretty quiet. You know, and I think some of it might come from, you know, how he has grown. I mean, you think about it. He spoke French growing up, and then he spoke Spanish when he was in Barcelona. And then when he went to Jersey, he was speaking English and Spanish because he was living in community with Spanish-speaking folks. Then he comes here and everything's English. So just a delightful guy, great personality, great smile, but on the quieter side.
Ben, obviously a skilled big, but just automatic from mid-range the other night.
Yeah, it's amazing, you know, how good he is at that. Whether it's a floater or a pull-up, or he uses the glass really well. And, you know, he never stops moving, so he's open a lot.
You hear a lot that the mid-range game is a lost art. Do you agree with that? Because, I mean, Ben and Patrick play, do you think there's
Yeah, I think
less
it
of
depends on who's shooting it. You know, I mean, some guys are really good at it. We've had some guys that were really gifted in that area. I mean, you know, Gatens was a terrific three-point shooter, but he could shoot the pull-up. Marvel could shoot the pull-up. I mean, we had a lot of guys that had the total green light. I mean, I think Gasol was a better pull-up jump shooter than he was a three-point shooter. He's pretty good at both, but you know, I don't put that kind of doubt in their mind, like, you know, don't shoot this shot. You know, in the pros, it's kind of gotten away with analytics, layups and dunks, or layups, dunks, and threes. You know, really the only shots that they want you to take. But you know, if you have Steph Curry, you can shoot wherever he wants. You know, stuff like that. So it's kind of like, I don't really say much. To me, if you're open, shoot the ball. You know, and some coaches get hung up on, well, you know, why would you shoot an 18 or 19 footer? You know, that's a bad shot. As I said, it depends on who's shooting it.
Did you know that was in his game coming from Valpo?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care what league you're in. That's a really good league. We all know that league. He led the league in scoring. So we watched a lot of film on him before we signed him. I should say before we offered him, but it was a no-brainer, you know, for what we needed and what he brought to the table. I mean, his activity, running the floor, moving without the ball, making plays for himself, making plays for other people, and relentless ability to you know, if he misses a couple, or just get right back to it. You know, nothing lingers on him.
What did you learn about your team the other night? I mean, Creighton's a top 10 team. You're on the road to be in it down to the very end. I mean,
yeah, you know, you can't quick shoot the ball on the road. That would be the only negative. You know, they hit 4 threes in a row. We missed a fair amount of shots in a row. they're running transition back at us, which is what everybody knew they would do. So sometimes you need longer possessions. As much as we kind of go and shoot the first open shot, nobody took a bad shot. But maybe under those circumstances, a longer possession would have been better. So you learn from that. It's, you know, you get down 7, you can't get down 17. It makes it really hard.
Patrick, theoretically, like this offseason could have been done playing college basketball. I think at Big Ten Media Day, he said like it's something he had to think about. What were the conversations like with him this offseason, just trying to decide what he was going to do?
I mean, to me, he was always going to come back. You know, it was a more difficult conversation the year before with Connor. He'd been here 5 years. That was a more lengthy conversation than this one. He needed to come back, and he loves the game. And he's really worked hard. You know, you look at his body and how it's changed over the years, and that's been a more difficult process for him than it would be for other people. So you know, he needed to be able to get his body to where it is and then go perform. I think he also knew that this team needed leadership, and he could provide that. So I'm really thrilled he's here, and he's doing a terrific job in all of those areas.
Couldn't he come back again?
Yeah. So I guess I'll have to pay him. Get that number up.
I think you said after the game, like you were hesitant to put Peyton back in. Did he like talk you into it, or?
No, I think that's the last thing you would ever allow. I mean, anybody with any kind of injury, let alone a head injury, they all want to come back in. Good coach. That's why you have professionals on the bench. We have our trainer, we had our team doctor. And you know, you don't do those tests on the bench, you go in the back and you get it figured out. And those tests are pretty thorough. Like you gotta have all the right answers. And if you have a concussion, you won't. So you know, I was glad it went back in. Would have been nice if he shot 3 free throws down 5. That would have been nice too.
You have 4 freshmen that are gonna figure prominently. How rare has that been for you over the years?
You know, it's a good question. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I've always played freshmen, you know, especially the really good ones. You know, I don't remember 4, you know, I mean, a lot of times, you know, 2 or 3. But this group, you know, we recruited them with that in mind, and they came here kind of with that in mind. You know, recruiting has changed, you know, with portal stuff, but freshmen still want to play. And they're looking at a lot of different factors, not the least of which is NIL opportunities. But sometimes there are fewer opportunities for freshmen than maybe there used to be because everybody's waiting to sign the 23-year-olds. But that hasn't changed how they look at it. You know, those guys came here saying, wait a minute, like you look at Lodgy and Owen, like now, Owen committed a long time ago, but Lodgy's like, wait a minute, they're losing their front line. Like, I got opportunity. I want to go there and play. He is.
It's one thing to tell players that they've got, you know, they're good shooters and they've got the green light, but you've got, I think all 4 of your freshmen have not hesitated to shoot the 3. Well, to me, that seems different or maybe even rare. Is it?
I would say this, Mike, not for them. You know, I think you look at those guys as individuals and not as, okay, that's a group of freshmen and it's rare for a group of freshmen. Well, who are those freshmen? Those 4 guys, I'm a good shooter. I'm gonna shoot. Coach brought me in here to shoot. I don't say anything to him. You know, Price pulled up, he was in the game the minute, we have a 2-on-1, he pulls up from 3. I mean, I didn't say a word to him. I was shocked he missed it. So was he. He'll make a lot more of those than he misses, I'll tell you that.
Did you see that in the summer when they were here? Because you talked about the progression that they made.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw it. I mean, pretty sure. I mean, on the Adidas circuit, he was the best 3-point shooter there was. You know, it used to be you would have to kind of have a general idea, hey, he's one of the best shooters out, but they actually keep stats now. He was the best shooter. And, he played on a good AAU team, I saw them a lot. Obviously I was recruiting him hard, but, you know, and then you look at what he did his senior year in high school, be Mr. Basketball. His numbers were pretty staggering.
Did you find out about him through Peyton or?
Well, you know, I saw him, he was a starting point guard when we started recruiting Peyton, so I mean, I literally watched him grow up. And, as we've said before, interesting trajectory. He's a starting point guard as a freshman and the starting center as a senior. Played everything in between, which I think ultimately was really good for him, if you look back.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks, guys. Yep.